If you've ever wondered why you keep choosing people who don't choose you, this is the episode for you. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Rest Movement, where we release every single thing. Hey, y'all. Welcome to another episode of the Rest Movement podcast. I am your host, Renee Young Blake, the Nugget Dropper, and I am so glad you are here. Listen, before I get into this episode, I just want to thank those of you who came and showed up for me for my 61 and Done live declaration party for my birthday on January the 7th. What an amazing time I had. And from the calls that I received, the text messages I received, you two had a great time. And if you didn't get a chance to be a part live, you can go back and watch. At some point, I'm going to put my 61 declarations, that party that I had. The reason why it was called a declaration party was because it was an opportunity for me to choose 61 things representing every year of my life, 61 things that I was not going to take any further on my journey. And I am grateful. Many of you put in the comments, which you weren't going to take with you, because I did invite you to bring your one and done. You didn't have to do 61 and done with me, but you brought your one and done, and how wonderful it was that you have decided that there is something that you're not going to take with you. We have to declare in this season what we're going to be healed from. We have to declare in this season the boundaries we're setting and the things that we're just not going to put up with anymore. We're not going to put up with it from our own selves, so we're definitely not going to put up with it from somebody else. We have to declare in this season that we're going to be healed from whatever. And so that starts with being aware of the things. And that's why I'm taking these moments and I'm taking these episodes, and we're talking about topics that are part of my S.T.U.M.P system. My S.T.U.M.P system is to help us heal from deep root issues that we don't even know what they are until somebody makes us aware. And the Rest Movement, again, if this is your first time being with us, Rest stands for releasing every single thing. And so this is the release every single thing movement. It's not just a podcast. A podcast is just a vehicle to get the word out, for you to share, for you to comment, for you to let someone else know that there's a movement and a community of women who are coming together to take responsibility for their own healing, declaring that they're going to be better in this lifetime, better in this journey that they're on, so that we can do greater in the earth. Because I believe that when one woman gets healed, she has the ability to impact so many, because women birth things. We don't just birth children, but nations come from us. And so why not birth a healthy, healed nation, because we are healthy ourselves. And even if we didn't start that way, we have an opportunity through the work that we do, the root work that we do, to get better, make it better, so that others can be better. Those who have been assigned to us, because God created us on purpose, for purpose, and design. And so those of us who recognize that, we know that God has also assigned some folk to us. And we want to be our best selves when we show up for them, because somebody is showing up for us. So let's get into it. You excited about today? Well, I am. You'll get excited. And I hope, and we're going to wrap up. I'm going to wrap up or go back over last week's wrap up. And then we'll move forward into our topic for today. Again, I'm doing this alone today. My co-host, Sonia D, the Soul Stirrer, is feeling much better. I talked to her just an hour or so ago, and it was so good to hear her voice, nice and strong and clear. And she too was excited to have been on my live, and was just talking about the moment being so epic. And she said I didn't look nervous. Well, she ought to know that behind there I was having some bubble guts, but I was having so much fun. Oh my goodness, I was having so much fun that I forgot I was live. Because, I would have never done that if God has not been pushing and stretching me in this season. And that's why I'm trying to make sure that we all are healed, because God is able to do these things in me because I am coming from a place of freedom. If we would just grab hold of the scriptures that says, he who the Son sets free is free indeed. And too often we have been in traditional situations, traditional church, traditional roles, and none of those roles were ever ordained by God. And because of that, we have lost out on our authenticity. We have lost out on being free and many times bound by not just these root issues that we have, but we're bound by things that God never intended. So again, all of that to say thank you for praying for Sonia D. She will be back. I think for our next topic. We're wrapping this topic up because I started it by myself, so it makes sense for me to finish it by myself, and then we'll get back into our co-hosting together. So it's nothing like just having somebody with you to talk things through. So I thank you guys for praying for her and thinking of her, because as you know, we've been best friends since we were 8. And now that we're 61, she's got a birthday just next month. So, I'll just celebrate straight into February with her, because I celebrate the whole month. And the people who are sending me, sorry, happy belated birthday, I'm like, listen, I'll be this age the whole year. Furthermore, I celebrate the whole month. So you're not late. That's just me getting more happy birthdays. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Anyway, let me get into this topic today, this episode today. I'm full of myself because I'm a year older. What can I say? Okay. When your birthday comes, celebrate like a rock star like I do. That's all. And you'll know. Anywho, let's get on into this topic today. For those of you who weren't with us the last time, just in case, this is for those who were with me, and just in case you can't remember, last week we began our powerful conversation about stump number 10, and that stump number is abandonment. And so if this is your first time hearing this message, I want you to go back and watch episode number 18, because I don't want you to come now when we are kind of digging deep. Last week gives us the foundation. We talked about abandonment, and we talked about the fact that it doesn't just come from people walking away. Most of us believe abandonment is just that. We feel abandoned because somebody walked out of our life. Somebody walked out on us. Somebody left and never came back. But it's more than that. It comes from emotional absence. It comes from inconsistency. It comes from neglect and having to grow up too fast. And so we also learned about abandonment. Sean, we talked about 3 different survival modes. These 3 main survival modes. One was the clinger, one was the runner, and then one was the performer. And if we remember, the clinger was a person who over-explains. They need reassurance. They stay too long in relationships, fear of being a burden. They over-text, like they just keep texting, trying to explain themselves. It's the one who thinks if I stay close, they won't leave me. They're not needy. They're afraid of being forgotten. And then the runner, on the other hand, this person pulls away when things get real, shut down emotionally. They avoid vulnerability, disappear instead of communicating. They are the one who, you can't leave me if I leave you first. They think that's the way they think. And it's not that they hate intimacy. They're afraid of getting too close. They're afraid of getting attached, because guess what? They get attached and then you walk away and they get that sense of abandonment again. They get that sense of somebody leaving them. And so lastly, we talked about the performer. And the performer is a person who overdoes everything. They overwork, they overgive, they over react, they overachieve. They tie their worth to productivity, feels loved when useful. The one who thinks I'm valuable enough. If I'm valuable enough, they'll stay. They don't love work. They love being needed. And we uncover the deepest lie abandonment installs, and that's that I'm not worth staying for. So again, if you haven't watched part 1, stop here and go back, watch episode 18, because I don't want you to get too deep in this and then you feel kind of lost about some of the information, because I'm not going over everything we talked about. But I just wanted to give a recall to those of us who were here last time and we got the information. I just wanted to remind us so that we can move forward, because abandonment doesn't just hurt, it programs. It doesn't just hurt, it programs. And we need to deprogram ourselves from unhealthy beliefs, unhealthy thoughts, and unhealthy habits. So let's take a few moments and let's talk about abandonment, the abandonment loop. The abandonment loop. When you have abandonment wounds, you don't choose partners randomly. You choose what feels familiar. And y'all know what I said about familiar. Look at the word. Familiar. It's a lie that you're being told. So it's old programming. It gives us false beliefs. So we believe the lie, and we have to be careful. That's why we need to retrain our thoughts. We need to retrain our thoughts. What feels familiar is often emotionally unavailable, inconsistent, unpredictable, hard to reach. Your nervous system confuses chaos with connection. And y'all know I love acronyms. I know I love acronyms. So the acronym that I have for chaos is it creates hell and overwhelming situation. That's what the enemy does. That's what chaos is. The C is for create, H is for hell and overwhelming situations. That's what the enemy does to us when he puts chaos in our life. He wants us to be overwhelmed or things to feel like hell on earth. Your nervous system confuses this chaos with connection. So when someone is distant, you feel pulled towards them. When someone is inconsistent, you feel that's like chemistry. When someone makes you chase, it feels like love, but that's not love. That's the abandonment loop. You don't fall in love with people, and you fall in love with patterns. Let that settle in. Let that settle in. You don't fall in love with people, you fall in love with patterns. Think about your behaviors. Be truthful. This isn't judgment. This is awareness. Y'all know I tell you that all the time. This is awareness, and awareness is the beginning stages for your healing. It is the beginning stage. If you are aware, then you have something to work with. If you know it to be true, then you know that there is also an answer to this truth that is coming up out of you. So just be honest with yourself. We don't have no judgment here at the Rest Movement the Rest Movement podcast. That's not how we roll. Okay. So we talked about this abandonment loop. Now let's talk about why you keep attracting the same energy. Y'all know it. Y'all know. Have you ever noticed how you keep meeting the same person in different bodies, a different face, a different name, but the same emotional experience every single time? That's because unresolved wounds act like radars. Your abandonment wound is scanning. It's scanning for emotional distance. It's scanning for inconsistency. It's scanning for people you have to earn, not because you like pain, but because your system is still trying to finally get what it never got. It's not weakness. It's not unfinished business. These patterns need to be disrupted. They're patterns. They're patterns. They're patterns. And listen, when we do have these patterns, we want them healed, because if we don't, guess what we do? It becomes a cycle, and it becomes a cycle of pain, not just for us, but it becomes a cycle for our children because we inadvertently teach it to them. We teach it to them. So if you can't do it for anybody else yet, if you can't do it for yourself yet, do it for your children, do it for your grandchildren, do it for those you love, because those who love you and are watching you and respect you and look up to you, those are the people who are going to watch how you move, and they're going to start develop those same habits. So if you aren't able to do it for the sake of you yet, and I say yet because I know that you're going to push through and choose you first. I know you're going to push through and bet on you and make this happen for you. So I want you to know that there are answers to anything that you become aware of. As I said, there's an answer to that awareness. And at the end of this awareness and at the end of digging the root out, there is a healing process that takes place, and now is the beginning. Here is now I see myself. Now I see why I act the way I act. Now I see why I thought this was this, but this wasn't that. It's something else. I now see that I have some abandonment issues, because most of us, when we hear the word abandonment, we instantly think, oh, because we didn't grow up without our dad. We didn't grow up with our dad, or we didn't grow up with our mom, or we were married and our husband walked out on us and left us with the children, or you grew up with a father who was in the home or a mother who was in the home, and then all of a sudden they decided they didn't want to be a parent. And that's all we thought abandonment is. But abandonment is not just that. It is having parents that were unavailable emotionally. It is having to grow up too fast because you were left to kind of almost raise yourself. All of those things add up to abandonment. And so we're talking about patterns today because we want to make sure that we get healed through this process. Last week brought the attention to us. Last week made us aware of the issue. And now we're uncovering some things so that we can move forward and not stay stuck where we are, right? And so let's talk about boundaries, how abandonment destroys boundaries. When we think of abandonment teaches you, if I speak up, they'll leave. So what do? You stay quiet. You don't ask for what you need. You tolerate things that hurt you. You accept crumbs just to keep the connection to them. You don't hold boundaries because love once felt fragile. But real love doesn't leave when you're honest. It doesn't. How do you fix it? You have to reparent yourself. And I'm not suggesting that your parent didn't do a good job. As a parent, you do the best you can, but often it still isn't good enough. Guess what? Because we're all human. This human experience is an experiment for all of us because we're spiritual beings living in a body with a soul. And so we are all practicing humanity. And we don't always know what our children need because our children grow up not always knowing how to articulate and tell. And we don't always have the spiritual insight or discernment to see what it is they need. So when I say reparent, you have to reparent yourself. I'm not suggesting by any stretch that your parents weren't great parents, but they did the best that they knew how to do. And we have to even give them a pass. We have to forgive them for not being able to give us all that we needed, because guess what? They didn't get all they needed. And they didn't know what to give no more than you as a parent know what to give. You know how it is. Your children look at you as a grandparent like, who is this woman in the world? Because the woman I grew up with would have knocked my head off if I had done what you just did. Isn't that what we see? How parents change when they become grandparents because they don't have the pressure. They don't have the responsibility. They don't have to, while they are parenting, having to also make a way to make sure you have food, make sure you have shelter, make sure you have clothes. So it's a lot of responsibility being a parent. So aren't you glad that you're still alive long enough that you can reparent yourself? I mean, that's pretty sweet, right? That you have a do-over moment, because we barely know what we need ourselves. So how could we know all our child needs? So you will never know enough to do enough. So give your parents some grace, then give yourself some grace. Healing begins when you stop waiting for somebody else to give you what you never got. Reparenting means protecting yourself. It means soothing yourself. It means choosing consistency. It means honoring your needs, giving yourself safety. That's reparenting. You become the safe place you always needed. I'm my safe space. I'm my safe space. I'm my safe place. That's when relationships start to change. That's when you see who you attract change, because when you are a safe place, you are confident in your ability to protect. You are confident in your ability to make sure you have boundaries. You're confident in yourself. You can have Godfidence, where you are confident in God, and you can have confidence in yourself, and then you'll attract differently. You know why? Because you won't take no stuff. You're not going to allow people to overstep. You're not going to allow people to take advantage. You're not going to allow people to give you crumbs. If you can't present to me the whole steak, the meat of the relationship, then I don't want your leftovers. I don't want your, what you bit off and you left. I want the full meal. I want the deluxe. Amen. Am I painting the right picture? So to paint a even greater picture for you, or let me say to paint a new picture for you, let's talk about what safe love feels like. So just in case your eyes deceive you because they look good, what you feel won't. Safe love feels calm. It feels predictable. It feels secure. When you grew up in chaos, calm feels boring. Always choosing the bad boy when you were young because you didn't want the boring boy. But boring is actually peace. Safe love doesn't make you anxious. It doesn't make you chase. It doesn't make you perform. It lets you rest. And that's what we all need. It lets you rest. So let's just take a moment to rewrite the abandonment or your abandonment story. Let's take a moment to rewrite it. We have covered some ground, and I hope some of these things are resonating with you. I hope you're having some aha moments. I hope you are recognizing that you're not alone, and you probably, even if this doesn't identify with you, you probably can think of some of your sister friends, some of your sisters, some of your friends, your relatives that this sounds like. It sounds like behaviors that you've seen in them. And so we get a chance to rewrite our abandonment story. And that's what I want for you. I want you to find a place of rest, a place where you can release every single thing. So let's just talk about that for a minute. I want you to say these things with me or after me. If you play this back, you can pause it. But I want you to say these words. I am not hard to love. Sit in that for a minute. Because too often we blame ourselves when people walk away. We blame ourselves when we don't get the attention or the love that we deserve. We blame ourselves when people gaslight us, and we think that it's us, and that, I wouldn't love me either because, I'm this way and I'm that way. And it's far from the truth. You are not hard to love. You have to start, even if there are things about you that are unlovable, guess what? God requires us to love unconditionally. So even if there are some unlovable things, the person who shows up to love you, the person who shows up to be friends with you, ought to love you without condition. That means love the hell right out of you sometimes, but love you when you're unlovable. So you begin to declare, I am not hard to love. And again, watch what you draw. Watch the kind of attention. Watch the kind of relationships you draw. Even in sisterhood, watch the kind of sisters that you draw. When you can confess and openly say, I am not hard to love, you will draw people to you who will love you hard. and love you right, so that you never have to try to cling to people to get attention, or you running away from them before they have a chance to run away from you, or you constantly trying to prove yourself so that they will love you. If I do this right, then they'll stick around. All of that stuff is a false sense of security, and we're breaking that cycle today. The next thing I want you to say, I do not have to earn connection. I do not have to earn connection. Say it with me. I do not have to earn connection. The next thing I want you to say is, I'm allowed to have needs. No longer am I going to keep my needs hidden and make sure somebody else's needs are met while I'm sitting full of needs because nobody's meeting them. That I'm not going to keep thinking that if I mention or I say what I feel or what I desire or what I want for myself, that person's going to think I'm too much. I am allowed to have needs. If we weren't, why would the word of God say, but my God shall supply all my need according to his riches and glory? Why would he say that if we weren't allowed to have needs? So nobody should make you feel like you don't. Okay? Say this with me. I choose relationships that choose me. Listen, we all have been, and I say we all because, I don't know, and I've never met any woman who has not been in a relationship that didn't sometimes feel one-sided. Was you putting in all the effort? You're the one making all the sacrifices because you're choosing and chasing them, but they're not choosing and chasing you. So say again, I choose relationships that choose me. When you make these declarations and you say them often, sooner or later, you reset your nervous system. You reset your brain. You reset your mind to think a different way so that when that negative, when that old person, when I say old, I ain't talking about age, but I'm talking about that old behavior that you used to draw to you shows up, it's instantly repelled. It's almost like resist the enemy and he will flee from you. They was talking about the devil, but he's also talking about the relationships too. Resist them and they got to go. So you choose relationships that choose you. Next thing I want you to say with me is, I am safe to be seen. I am safe to be seen. Next thing I want you to say with me is, I am worthy of staying. I don't have to jump through hoops. I don't have to do cartwheels and flips. I don't have to do extra and overachieve and overperform and overdo everything so that I'm worthy of staying. I will no longer attach my worth to being productive in taking care of somebody else. In relationships, you take care of me, I take care of you. I put your needs above mine, you put your needs above mine. Did I say that right? I put your needs above mine and you put my needs above yours. There it is. You do that for one another. That's what marriage is. And certainly if the person can't practice it before marriage, they're not going to practice it when marriage comes. Was it Maya Angelou that said, when people show you who they are, believe them? When you see the pattern of this, you're dating the same, or you're having a relationship with the same people, just a different name and a different face. You see that pattern. That's when you say, you know what? I need to take a break. I need to reset. I need to reset so I can reboot and reload the right thing in me, so I can be restored to where God intended. So the next relationship, next friendship, the next ship, whatever kind of ship I'm getting on, relationship, friendship, whatever kind of ship I'm getting on, I'm in it not to sink or swim, but I'm in the ship to ride it out, and not in stormy weathers all the time. Every now and then we'll get some waves of bumping, but to be in a smooth pattern for most of the time, because you now know what you will accept and what you will not accept. what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. The boundaries have been set, and you're going to stick with it and not allow anybody to push your buttons. Now that we've made all of these declarations, I want you to just pause for a minute and breathe. I want you to imagine how life would change if you no longer feared being left. How would your life be different if you put faith over fear? How different would it be? How would you choose a partner? How would you speak your truth? How would you set boundaries? How would you love yourself? How? How? You are not broken. You are not broken. You are healing. There is a difference. Stop saying you're broken. When you become aware, and awareness is the first step to your healing, no longer hold on to I'm broken. That's old news. You just confess now you're healing. And why? Because awareness is the first part of healing. And now that you are aware of what the issue is, guess what you get to do? You get to heal. You just continue to go through the process. And you have to embrace the process. Nothing worth having is going to be easy. Otherwise, everybody would have it. And you know how it is when things are free, you don't pay much attention to it. But when things cost you something, you pay more attention to it because it costs you your coins. Okay? So this is costing you some time. It's costing you some energy, but you're worth every ounce of it. So I believe today, if you've seen yourself and you've seen these patterns, today you're going to choose you. Today you choose you, and other women around you will change because of you. Your daughters, your sisters, your sister friends, you'll be the woman to impact other women. And that's what the rest movement is all about. God used my mistakes. He used my past. He used my breakthrough. He used my deliverance. He used my healing to birth this movement through me so that I can help other women get free. And today is your day to start the process. So what you gonna do with it? What you gonna do? What you gonna do with it? What you gonna do? Oh, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? It just dawned on me when I started bouncing. Guess what I didn't say? It's Freedom Fridays. Fridays. Freedom Fridays. Fridays. It's Freedom Fridays. Fridays. Freedom Fridays. So come on and get free. So it don't matter where my song come in. It's still what today is all about. It's Freedom Fridays. And the whole point of this movement, whole point of this podcast is to lead women to freedom, because I have been there and I know what it feels like to be stuck. I know what it feels like to feel like I can't get out of it. I know what it feels like to be in silence, in secret, and not letting other people know the pain that I was experiencing. I know what it feels like to feel ashamed, feel guilty. I know all of those feelings, to have regret, and now to be free of that, throw that stuff off, shake that stuff off, and be able to move forward. And it's not to say I don't have days. Listen, let me tell you, after my 61 and done party, it was so, as I said, it was so powerful. I felt so, I don't know, I just felt a jolt of joy. And what I have learned over the years about my own life, that when I do something really, really powerful, when I do something that's like a shifting for me, that takes away some barriers, and so the enemy never fails to come at me hard. And let me tell you, as I said earlier, I got nice text messages, I got nice calls about the event and how powerful it was for other people. And it was powerful for me too. And then yet the next day I was bummed out. The next day I just felt this gloom over me. And I reached out to one of my sister friends and they weren't available. And then my little sister called and she happened to call me about one thing, but she recognized in my voice something wasn't right. And she wound up talking to me for a long while, and that started pulling me out of that rut. And so I know what it feels like to be free of something. And then somehow the enemy gets his little foot in the door, and then he actually opens the door and comes in if you don't pay attention. And so that's why I can teach what I teach, just why I can empower with what I empower, because it is things that God had allowed me to go through so that I could be here in this season, not knowing that all of the things that I've been through, that he will allow me to be before you so that I can help guide you out, just like I was guided out, allow you to get to the root of things, just like I was able to identify my root issues and dug them suckers up. You're not going to keep growing. You're not going to keep producing fruit in me. I'm not going to be that kind of fruit tree. The kind of fruit I'm going to produce is the kind of fruit that needs to be produced so that others can take a bite of it, and they can get free, and they can get full, and they can have greater faith, whatever they need, because I took the time for myself to get healed. And it started with me being aware of me, being aware of my issues, being aware of the things that I needed to check, the things that I needed to dig out, uproot, and burn so that they never rise up again. Some things still rise up because the enemy knows. He knows what you've come from, and he knows the things that can kind of pull you in slowly. But thank God, he will always send somebody to pull you out when he knows that you're committed to being healed. And so I want you to understand, and I want you to feel this. Abandonment doesn't get to have the final word. Wholeness does. You are not abandoned. You are becoming whole. Before you leave this episode, I want you to do one thing. I want you to choose one pattern you are done repeating. You have to do something with action. You can't just see this, be aware, and not do something. Because being aware is not healing. It is the start of healing. So you got to do something. I want you to choose one pattern. Is it chasing? Is it settling? Is it staying silent? Is it overgiving? Is it loving people who don't love you back? Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. You've got to name it. Write it down. You got to name it. And then say it out loud. I'm done carrying whatever it is. I'm done carrying it. This is it. It's over. I'm done. Because healing doesn't begin with wishing. Say, no, I dream a genie. Or what was the other one? Bewitch, do your nose, and it goes away, poof. And it's not even if you pray and ask God to take it away from you. Sometimes God wants you to do the work. Because when he takes stuff away quickly, we don't appreciate it. We appreciate it more when there's a struggle to be had, a battle that we fight, and a victory that we win. How much more proud are you? Imagine being in a race and then somebody else coming and taking over the race and running it for you. That's not a victory for you. The victory is in when you are running and you running and you running, sweat running down your face, legs, arms tired. You barely can breathe, but you see the finish line and you chucking. You chucking, you chucking, you chucking until you get to the end and you're able to run. You see how they do. They put their arms out and they running, trying to hit that tape as the first person. But just because they're not first, they don't stop running. You got to run your own race and you can do it. I know you can. I am not special. I mean, I'm special to him, But who I am is not special. I'm no different than anybody else. So you gotta go beyond just wishing, beyond just being aware. Guess what you gotta do? You gotta go from awareness to deciding to choose you over everything else and everybody else. So now, if this episode spoke to you, I need you to do 4 things, and you know what it is. I need you to subscribe to the channel. I need you to share it with someone who needs to hear it, not because of me, but because someone you have love for might finally realize they're not broken, right? They're not broken, they're healing, but they can't get to the healing part unless you share. And if this blessed you, say something in the comment. Because as I encourage you, guess what your comments do for me? They encourage me right back. I can't tell you how blessed I was by all the comments on my 61 and Done live for my birthday. To see people responding brought me so much joy. So when I tell you all a comment, it's not for me just, being boastful and trying to, browbeat you into doing it. You writing something in the comment lets me know that it resonates with you. It lets me know that this was good information for you. It lets me know that, hey, sis, I was listening and dang, I didn't realize that this was an issue for me. But thank you for revealing this. Thank you for teaching this, because now I have some nuggets to take away with me, some nuggets to help me grow. And guess what? I took enough nuggets with me that I have some to share, and I can pass them out. And you do that by sharing the episode. I had somebody to call me and say, hey, I was telling somebody about your 61 and Done declaration party. It was so powerful. And they were like, how can I watch? And I sent them the link to it. I told them that you can really just go to my YouTube channel. It's there, but I'll send you the link to make it easy so you can send it right to them. So I'm not doing this just because y'all know, I told you in the very beginning, this is the last thing that I thought I would be doing. Yes, I'm accustomed to speaking in front of people. Yes, I've been on platforms where I had to talk to a crowd. I don't know what it was with being on the internet that caused me great fear. But listen, I'm over the enemy creating fear, which is false evidence appearing real. And I'm choosing faith over fear. And I want you to choose faith too, over the fear of changing, over the fear of uncovering the wounds, because they're going to hurt again. Ripping off that Band-Aid and seeing that it's not a scar yet, because it's still an open wound. It hasn't even started filling in because you haven't cleaned it out. You haven't attended to it. A wound that isn't attended to never really heals properly. And so here's your opportunity. So don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. My goal is my goal was 100 subscribers for the end of December. Y'all didn't help me out now. So now I have, I think last I saw was mid-80s, 4 of which came from the 21 and Done. And so I know you all can help me do that. Subscribe. Let's grow our community of women, so that all of us can get exactly what God intended, and we can be exactly who God intended for us to be. Like the episode if you liked it, and then share it with somebody you love, somebody you care about, somebody you know needs to hear this message, and comment to be an encouragement to me if I was an encouragement to you. Okay? You know what I say. You just been nuggeted by Renee Young Blake, the Nugget Dropper. You can find me on all socials as at Renee Young Blake. And until next time, I want you to release every single thing. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Thank you for watching the Rest Movement Podcast. Remember, keep breathing, keep believing, keep becoming. like, comment, subscribe, and share. See you next Friday.